My wife landed another big hobby project, Evan says, and the laugh arrives before I can decide whether he means it as a joke. We're halfway through Sunday dinner. My hand is still around the neck of the wine bottle I bought to celebrate the second payment on the Whitcomb Hotel restoration. Linda lifts her glass toward her son. To real careers, she says, and the people strong enough to carry them. Evan smiles down at his plate. I'm deciding whether to pour the wine or pour it over both of them when Linda reaches for the salt. Something brass swings from the ring beside her car fob and strikes the table with a soft click. A square-headed key, my studio key. I know it because the locksmith had made only 3, and because Linda Mercer has never been given one. So, I say, filling her glass, how did you get into my building? The wine glugs once, too loudly. Linda's hand closes over the key ring. Your building? The one that key opens. Evan folds his napkin and smooths it across his thigh, although it's already flat. Can we not do this at dinner? That answers one question and creates a worse one. I set the bottle down. You gave it to her. For emergencies. What emergency? Linda puts the salt beside her plate. She is wearing a cream sweater with gold buttons, the kind of thing that makes every room look briefly like a hotel lobby. The warehouse has an alarm. Your studio has an alarm. If one goes off while you two are away, it's useful to have someone nearby who can get in. You live 38 minutes away, without traffic. There's always traffic. Evan exhales through his nose. Nora. He can put an entire speech into my name. This version means I'm turning something practical into something personal, which is what Evan calls it when the personal part belongs to me. I pick up my fork. Which key did you give her? The spare. The spare is in my office. Then the other spare. There is no other spare. Linda looks at Evan, not at me. We had been married for 9 years, long enough that I knew the difference between his confused face and the face he wore while selecting an acceptable portion of the truth. I had one made, he says. There it is. Across the table, Linda cuts a roasted carrot into 4 exact pieces. I had spent most of the afternoon making short ribs because she once said mine were better than the ones at a restaurant she considered overrated. Now I watch her push the meat away from the bone and feel ridiculous for wanting that compliment again. You copied a key to my studio without asking me. I copied a key to a property we're both financially responsible for. We are not both financially responsible for it. Bellwether Glass pays that lease. Bellwether Glass is you. Yes. And you are married to me. Linda touches her napkin to the corner of her mouth, which is why the whole "your building" thing sounded a little sharp. I look at her. Give me the key. Her eyebrows rise. Please, I add. Evan leans back. Mom, just give it to her. I'll explain later. Linda unhooks the brass key. She places it beside my plate close enough that a streak of gravy touches one edge. Honestly, she says, I forgot I had it. I wipe the key with my napkin. That's reassuring. For a second, Evan's mouth twitches. He almost laughs. It's an old reflex from when we used to be on the same side of a table. Then he sees his mother's expression and reaches for his water instead. Dinner continues because dinners do. Linda asks whether we've found someone to repair the loose flagstone out front. Evan describes a rooftop unit his company installed at a medical office. I eat 2 bites of short rib and hear every small noise. Silverware, ice shifting, Linda's bracelet brushing the table. No one asks about the Whitcomb. It is a 1926 hotel downtown with a limestone facade and a lobby ceiling made of blue and gold leaded panels. Years of heat and bad repairs bowed the glass until several sections looked ready to breathe loose. I had spent 5 months bidding for the job and another 2 proving my studio could handle it. The contract was worth more than Bellwether had made in its first 3 years combined. Evan knew that. He had watched me revise the proposal at our kitchen island until 2 in the morning. He had brought me coffee during the client presentation and texted a row of champagne bottles when I won. But when I mentioned the payment at dinner, he called it a hobby. The word sits between us longer than the food does. After dessert, Linda stacks 3 plates despite my telling her to leave them. Her helpfulness is always most energetic when I don't want her touching anything. At the front door, she kisses Evan's cheek. "Call me about Tuesday," she says. "I will." "What's Tuesday?" I ask. They share another glance. "A supplier thing," Evan says. Linda slips into her coat. "Good night, Nora. The dinner was lovely." She steps outside before I can ask what kind of supplier thing requires secrecy and a copied key. Evan closes the door and rests his forehead against it. I carry the dessert plates to the kitchen. "That posture isn't helping your case." "What case?" "There is no case." "Then stand up." He turns. "I shouldn't have made the hobby joke." "No, you shouldn't have." Mom gets competitive about business. Your mother isn't in business. She handles our books. Your mother logs into your accounting software twice a week and prints everything. She does more than that. She also puts sticky notes on invoices that say, "Why so high?" Evan follows me into the kitchen. He has loosened the top button of his shirt, and there's a spot of sauce near his cuff. He looks tired. I hate that I notice. I hate even more that some part of me wants to wet a towel and rub the sauce out before it stains. "She's been with Mercer Mechanical since my dad was running calls out of the van," he says. "And that makes my studio a hobby?" I apologized. "You identified the joke. That's not the same thing." I turn on the faucet. He reaches past me and shuts it off. "Can we talk without you doing dishes?" "We've talked through plenty of dishes." "Nora." "Evan." He lets go of the faucet. I gave her the key because we may need occasional access to the back room. The sentence lands quietly. I look toward the mudroom where the brass key sits on the counter under my purse. "What do you mean, access?" "The warehouse is tight right now." "Your warehouse?" "Yes, my warehouse. We've got the Halcyon equipment coming in, plus the Jefferson returns, and Marcus is trying to keep a lane open for the service vans." "So, you want to rent my back room?" "I want to put a few things there for a week." "Then why didn't you ask me?" "Because every conversation about the studio turns into an executive board meeting. Bellwether has employees and contracts." "It should." He rubs his face. This is what I mean." "What do you mean?" "I can't ask if we can store 6 boxes without getting a speech about chain of custody." "6 boxes?" "A few pallets, probably." I laugh once. It doesn't sound like me. "How many pallets, Evan?" "I haven't counted them." "But Linda has." Mom met the delivery Friday. The key is on the mudroom counter. Linda has met the delivery. Tuesday is a supplier thing. I walk past him. "Nora." I grab my purse and the key. "It's 9 o'clock, he says. "The studio is 12 minutes away." "Nothing is happening there tonight." "Great. Then this will be a very short trip." He follows me into the mudroom. "I said we may need the space. I didn't say we'd used it. Your mother met a delivery. At our warehouse. With the key to my studio." He puts both hands on his hips. "Why do you always do that?" "Notice the order of sentences?" "Assume the worst." "You made a secret copy of my key." "It wasn't secret." "When were you planning to tell me?" "I'm telling you now, because I saw it on her ring." The air between us changes. His shoulders drop, not in surrender, but in irritation, like I have failed to make this easy enough for him. "It's storage," he says. "It's not an affair." The comparison is so strange that I stare at him. He hears it too. That came out wrong. "What else would I find if I drove over there?" "Nothing." "Then come with me." "I have to be up at 5. "You'll be back by 10. "I've had 2 glasses of wine." "I'll drive." He looks toward the kitchen. There are still plates on the table, candles burning low, the remains of the dinner I made to celebrate the payment nobody asked about. "Can't you just trust me?" he says. There are questions that sound innocent only if you ignore when they are asked. I leave him standing beside the shoe rack. The city is damp and nearly empty. A fine mist skates through the headlights, too light for the wipers until it isn't. My phone buzzes twice in the cup holder. I don't look at it. Bellwether glass occupies the front half of a low brick building that used to be an appliance showroom. The neighboring warehouse wraps behind it in an L, with a loading area both businesses can reach from separate doors. When I signed the lease, Evan called the arrangement perfect. Mercer Mechanical could receive the occasional shipment if I was out. I could borrow their pallet jack. We would help each other. That was 3 years ago, when helping still sounded mutual. I park under the security light. Through the storefront windows, my work tables are shadows under canvas covers. The amber panel in the door catches the light from the street and breaks my reflection into wavering pieces. The glass came from a church vestibule we restored during Bellwether's second year. Most of the damaged panels had been replaced, but one narrow strip of amber ripple was too distorted to match. The project manager told me to throw it away. I kept it behind a cabinet until I had enough money for the storefront, then built it into the door. Every night before locking up, I wipe away the fingerprints. The ripple makes them easy to miss from one angle and obvious from another. Tonight there's a pale smear near the handle. I press the key into the lock. The alarm gives me 30 seconds to enter the code. Inside, the studio smells like putty, metal, and the lemon oil Priya uses on the oak layout table. My shoulders loosen automatically, then tighten again. Nothing looks disturbed in the front room. The blue Whitcomb panels rest upright in their custom racks. Paper patterns lie beneath clear weights. On the far table, a row of numbered glass samples shines under the task lamp we leave on for security. I walk through the cutting room. 6 boxes, I say aloud. The back hallway leads to my office, the break room, and the storage room beside the loading dock. My office door is closed. I leave it that way because dust migrates and because my desk contains payroll records, client deposits, vendor bids, and all the other boring evidence that a hobby has become responsible for other people's rent. I try the knob. Locked. The storage room door is farther down. A strip of cardboard protrudes from beneath it. Evan calls. I let it ring until voicemail picks up, then open the door. The overhead light reveals a wall of brown cartons on blue pallets. They are stacked too high, crowding the aisle from the loading entrance to my shelving. White Mercer Mechanical labels face outward. Halcyon Facilities Package, Rooftop Control Assembly, Hold for Install. There aren't a few pallets. There are 11. One blocks the cabinet where we keep respirators and protective gloves. Another sits beneath the sprinkler pipe with less clearance than our fire inspection requires. 2 have been wedged in front of the rack holding the unopened crates of imported blue glass for the Whitcomb ceiling. I step sideways to reach them. My coat catches on a splintered pallet. The first glass crate looks intact. The second has been shifted several inches from the chalk marks Priya drew on the floor. One corner is crushed inward. A bright metal band hangs loose against the wood. My phone buzzes again. This time it's a text from Evan. Please don't start moving anything. We have a plan. I crouch beside the damaged corner and touch the sliver of blue glass lying on the concrete. The shard is no larger than a thumbnail. It catches the overhead light with the deep, uneven color the hotel chose because modern sheets look too clean. 6 months to source it, 8 weeks to ship it. The next Whitcomb inspection is Thursday. Another message appears. Mom was trying to help. I turn the shard over in my palm. One edge presses into my skin. Behind me, the loading door lock begins to move. The door rolls inward 3 inches, stops, then opens hard enough to strike the rubber bumper. Linda stands on the other side with one hand on the metal bar and her purse tucked under her arm. She has changed out of the cream sweater. Now she's wearing a raincoat over black pants, and the same expression she uses when a waiter brings the wrong side dish. "What are you doing here?" I ask. "Evan called me." "Of course he did." Her gaze drops to my hand. "You shouldn't pick that up." "You mean the piece of my client's glass?" "We don't know where it came from." I point to the crushed crate. Linda steps inside and pulls the door shut against the mist. That could have happened in transit. It didn't. How can you possibly know? Because we inspected every crate when it arrived, photographed all 4 sides, and marked their positions on the floor. She looks at the chalk lines. Well, that seems excessive. It's glass. It's a floor. I rise slowly. How did you get through the loading door? Mercer has always had access. Mercer has access to its side of the warehouse. This opens onto the same dock, not the same room. She glances at the cartons instead of answering. I can see her arranging her thoughts, rejecting the ones that sound as bad as they are. You weren't using this space, she says. There was glass stored here. The walls were mostly empty. The walls, shelves, whatever, there was room. I point at the blocked safety cabinet. Those are respirators. That's our first aid station. Your cartons violate the clearance under the sprinkler line, and that pallet is blocking an exit route. It's temporary. You put 11 pallets into my studio without asking. Evan said 6. He told me a few. Then we all had different information. She says it like weather interfered. My phone rings again. Evan's name glows across the screen. Linda holds out her hand. Let me talk to him. You can use your own phone. He's on his way. He had 2 glasses of wine. He took a car. Something in me goes still. He wouldn't ride 12 minutes with me, but he is willing to pay someone to bring him here once his mother calls. Linda walks toward the damaged crate. We can shift these first thing tomorrow. I'll have Marcus send 2 technicians. No one from Mercer is touching them. Nora, be reasonable. You don't want to pay movers when we have people. Your people did this. You don't know that. I know your equipment did not grow legs and arrange itself. Her mouth tightens. The driver was supposed to leave everything at our dock. There wasn't room. Evan was in a meeting. Marcus was at a job, and the driver charges by the hour. I made a decision. You made it in my building. For my son's company. That sentence isn't helping. She folds her arms. Do you have any idea how much pressure he is under? Do you? I keep the books. Then you knew the equipment was coming. I knew there was a delivery. Did you know there wasn't room for it? Linda looks toward the loading door. The answer takes shape in what she avoids. You knew, I say. We expected the Jefferson returns to be picked up Thursday. Their carrier canceled. It created a temporary bottleneck. And the Halcyon equipment? It's for an important proposal. Is there a signed contract? That isn't your concern. It became my concern when you stored it on top of my contract. She steps closer. You are making this sound malicious. No one intended to damage anything. Evan has supported you from the beginning. He came to 2 craft fairs and carried a folding table. He paid the mortgage while you built this place. I paid half the mortgage. Not every month. I know exactly which month she means. 4 years earlier, I had left a restoration firm that wanted me to train my replacement without changing my title or salary. Bellwether's first winter had been thin, and Evan had covered more of the household costs for 3 months. I had repaid our shared savings before the following summer. Linda still talks about those months as if I emerged from them with a lifetime debt stamped across my forehead. Headlights sweep through the high loading windows. Evan comes in through the main entrance, wet at the shoulders. He must have used the code because the alarm doesn't sound. He stops when he sees me beside the crate. Then he sees the shard in my hand. Oh, hell. Linda turns toward him. We don't know that it's from there. Evan comes closer. His shoes leave dark marks on the concrete. Did you open it? No. Then how do you know? The band is broken, the corner is crushed, and there's blue glass on the floor. He crouches without touching the crate. His face changes in a way Linda's never did. He knows what the glass costs. More importantly, he knows what Thursday means. We can call the supplier tomorrow, he says. I'm calling them tonight. It's Sunday. The account manager gave me her emergency number. Linda gives a faint, disapproving hum. I look at Evan. I need all of this gone by noon tomorrow. Done, he says quickly. I'll have Marcus. No. I'm hiring insured art and equipment movers. They'll move your pallets back to your warehouse or wherever else you arrange. That's overkill. You just told me you'd handle it. I will handle it. My guys can move boxes. Your guys install rooftop units. They don't move irreplaceable glass. They won't touch the glass. There is no route to the loading door that doesn't pass the crates. We'll be careful. I hold up the shard. You've used that word up. His jaw shifts. Linda steps between us without appearing to. We're all tired. Why don't we go home and Evan can meet you here early? This is my workplace, Linda. I'm already where I need to be. Fine. Then I'll help Evan deal with his business. She takes his arm. He doesn't move, but he doesn't remove her hand either. I call Elena Vargas, the Whitcomb project manager. She answers on the fourth ring, sounding breathless and wary. I tell her there may be damage to one shipping crate, that I'm documenting it now and that I'll have a full assessment by 9 the next morning. Evan listens as I speak. When I hang up, he says, "You didn't need to alarm the client before we knew." We? He closes his eyes briefly. Before you knew. Before I knew, the crate was intact. Linda's fingers tighten around his sleeve. I photograph the room from every angle. The pallets, the chalk lines, the crushed corner, the loose band. Evan moves out of each frame. Linda doesn't at first, then notices and turns away. When I'm finished, I place the shard in a padded sample box and write the date and location on the label. Evan watches me. You really think I'd lie about this? I cap the pen. I think you already did. The movers arrive at 7:30 Monday morning. Priya is there before me. Her dark hair twisted up with 2 pencils and a travel mug balanced on a stack of packing blankets. She studies the pallets in silence. Priya can make silence feel itemized. I know, I say. Does your husband? He knows now. No, I mean, does he know what these are blocking? She points past the cartons to the climate-controlled cabinet. Inside are jars of specialty cement and conservation compounds that have to remain within a narrow temperature range. I squeeze between 2 pallets and check the digital display. It's 4 degrees too warm. Someone unplugged the cabinet, Priya says. The cord is coiled neatly beside it so the plug won't lie in the aisle. That neatness makes me angrier than carelessness would have. Marcus arrives at 8 with a Mercer truck. He is tall, broad through the shoulders, and usually carries the faint metallic smell of mechanical rooms. Today, he looks like he slept in his work shirt. "Morning," he says to Priya, then to me. "I'm here to take the Halcyon units. The movers are handling it." He looks over at the crew unloading padded dollies. "Evan said we'd move our equipment." I told him otherwise. Marcus scratches the side of his jaw. "Okay. Where do you want it?" "Your warehouse." "No room. Then you'll need another location. We have service calls starting in 20 minutes. Marcus, I'm sorry you got sent into this. I'm not keeping the pallets here." He looks toward the damaged crate and swears under his breath. "Was that like that Friday? I wasn't here Friday night. I mean, when it came in. You tell me." His eyes move to the floor. "Were you here?" I ask. "Not when they unloaded." "Who was?" "Linda and 2 of our newer guys. I got back after 6. Stuff was already inside." "Did you see the crate?" "I saw it blocked in." "Did you tell Evan?" Marcus presses his lips together. "I told him this wasn't a good spot." That isn't an answer, which is an answer. One of the movers asks for the destination. Marcus calls Evan. They talk quietly, then less quietly. In the end, Mercer rents space for a month at a storage facility near the interstate. The movers bill Bellwether because I hired them. I send a copy of the invoice to Evan before the last pallet leaves. By 10, Priya and I can reach the Whitcomb crates. The damage is worse than the shard suggested. 9 sheets are fractured. 3 more have chipped corners too deep to trim around the pattern. The supplier can replace them, but not before Thursday unless we pay an emergency handling fee and air freight from Pennsylvania. Priya sits on an overturned bucket while I write the numbers. "That's disgusting," she says. "The freight?" "The whole thing." She drinks from her mug, then offers it to me. "The coffee is sweet enough to make my teeth ache." "Thank you," I say. "Do you want me to say something helpful?" "Please. We can recut the border sections and keep the central panels on schedule. More helpful. Elena likes you. Less helpful. She likes the work. That I believe. I call the supplier, approve the rush order, and use Bellwether's operating reserve to pay for it. Evan texts while I'm on the phone. Send me the moving invoice. Mercer will take care of it. A minute later, Mom didn't know they unplugged anything. Then, I'm sorry. I read the messages twice. The apology sits after the defense, small and obedient. Elena arrives at 11 with a flashlight, a clipboard, and no patience for charm. She examines the crate, the photographs, and our revised cutting schedule. I can keep Thursday's inspection, she says, but the second payment stays pending until I see the replacement sheets. We already ordered them. I want the shipping confirmation. You'll have it by noon. Her eyes rest on the empty pallet marks. Your husband's company? Yes. Will they be storing anything else here? No. The certainty in my voice surprises both of us. She nods once. Then show me what you can finish without the blue. After she leaves, I call a locksmith. By 6, the front door, loading door, and office all have new cylinders. Priya and I stay late reworking the production schedule. Before I lock up, I wipe the amber glass in the entrance. There are more fingerprints than usual, layered over one another, mine and Evan's and Linda's from the night before. At home, Evan has made pasta. The sauce comes from a jar, but he has warmed the bowls and opened the wine left from Sunday. I paid the movers, he says when I sit down. I saw, and the replacement freight. I saw that too. I'm not asking Bellwether to eat the cost. Good. He twists his fork through the pasta. Are we going to talk like this all night? Like what? Like I'm a vendor who screwed up an order. A vendor would have asked before using the space. He drops the fork. It strikes the bowl. I said I was sorry. You said your mother didn't know someone unplugged the cabinet. She didn't. She shouldn't have been there. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, she shouldn't have been there. And you shouldn't have given her a key. I know. You knew yesterday. He pushes back from the table. What do you want from me, Nora? I paid every cent. The glass is being replaced. Nothing happened that can't be fixed. The wine catches the light between us, dark red in the bowl of his glass. My client withheld a payment. You'll get it Thursday. If the shipment arrives, if we can cut it in time, if Elena approves it. So this is about money. No, that's why you don't understand it. He stares at me, then takes his plate to the sink. I can't keep apologizing until you decide to accept one. The next morning, I move the household bills from my personal account to a new shared account and send Evan the deposit schedule. I remove myself from Mercer's vendor portal. 3 unresolved statements are sitting in the queue, including one with duplicate freight charges. I download nothing. I forward the login credentials to Linda and sign out. It feels petty for almost 7 minutes. Then the locksmith calls. Your office lock was newer than the others, he says. Did you want both old keys returned? Both? There were 2 different keys on the ring, front and office. My hand tightens around the phone. The office had been locked Sunday night. Linda's copied key should have opened only the front door. I pull up the security system on my computer and search the entry log. Friday, 7:42 p.m. Evan's code disarmed the studio. At 9:18, the loading door opened. At 9:31, the office motion sensor activated. The pallets had already been delivered by then. I scroll back to the camera thumbnails. The front room camera catches Linda entering alone, carrying her purse and a flashlight. 12 minutes later, she walks toward my office with a key already in her hand. When she returns, she is carrying a blue folder against her chest. My business reserve statements are kept in a blue folder. I call Evan. He answers on the second ring. Hey, I'm walking into a meeting. What was your mother looking for in my office? Silence. Then a door closes on his end. What are you talking about? I'm looking at the security footage. Another silence. Shorter this time. Nora, I can explain. Start with the blue folder. He lowers his voice. Mom thought your lease copy was in there. My lease is in the black cabinet. You know that. I'm walking into a meeting. Then walk back out. I can't. You can. You don't want to. He breathes into the phone. I picture him in the small conference room at Mercer, one hand braced on the laminate table, Linda 10 feet away pretending not to listen. Did she take anything? He asks. You tell me. I don't know. You gave her an office key. I gave her my keys. Why? To make a copy of the loading key. The office key looks nothing like the loading key. She copied the ring. She knew which one opened my office. He says my name softly. That version used to work on me. What was she looking for? We were trying to understand our options. A cold line travels down my back. Your options for what? If the halcyon proposal moved faster than expected, we might need a short bridge. With my money. Our money. Bellwether's operating reserve. You own Bellwether. Bellwether pays 4 people. It owes glass to the Whitcomb. It has taxes, insurance, rent, freight, and 12 other open jobs. I know that. No, you know there's a number in an account. I never said we were taking it. Your mother went through my locked office to see how much was there. I told her not to. You told her where the folder was. He doesn't answer. The meeting on his side begins without him. I hear chairs, a man asking whether the projector is connected. You called my business a hobby after you sent your mother to inspect its cash. It wasn't like that. Which part? The joke, the key, any of it. Those are 3 different things. Nora, I have 9 people sitting here. And I have 4 people whose payroll was in the folder your mother carried out. She put it back. The fact that he knows strikes harder than the rest. You watched her do it? No. Did she tell you the balance? He whispers something I can't hear. Say it again. Yes. Behind him, the projector chimes. I have to go. You should. I hang up before he can turn it into permission. Linda calls 6 minutes later. I send her to voicemail. She calls again, then texts. You and I need to discuss the legal and practical realities of marriage. I set the phone face down. Priya appears in my office doorway carrying the shipping confirmation. The replacement glass missed the morning truck. How late? They're saying tomorrow afternoon. The Whitcomb inspection is the next morning. Can they put it on another carrier? They can try. Tell them trying costs extra. She looks at my face. What happened? I turn the monitor so she can see the still image of Linda holding the folder. Priya reads the timestamp. Her expression barely changes, which is how I know she is furious. Do we need to move the reserve? No, the bank credentials weren't in there. That isn't what I asked. I look at the account balance on my second screen. The rush freight and new glass have already come out. The second Whitcomb payment has not come in. Moving the rest would not change the fact that Evan knew it existed. I'm separating every Bellwether account from our household records, I say. Today? Today. Elena gives us until Friday to present the replacement sheets. The hotel's payment stays frozen, and she makes me send a revised schedule showing how we'll recover the lost week. Priya rearranges 2 smaller jobs. I call clients and use phrases like supplier disruption and protected delivery date, while Linda leaves 3 voicemails. The first is angry. The second is reasonable. The third is wounded. By evening, she has traveled from marital property to family loyalty to the sacrifices she made after Evan's father died. She never says why those sacrifices entitled her to my payroll records. She does say Bellwether exists partly because Evan gave me room to experiment. I save that one. Evan comes home after 10 carrying a banker's box. He sets it in the hall. What's that? I ask. Mercer paperwork, since apparently it isn't safe here. You mean since I won't manage it? I mean since you've decided boundaries only go one direction. He takes off his jacket and hangs it carefully. Evan gets neater when he's angry. Shoes aligned, keys in the bowl, sleeves folded before he says what he came to say. I talk to Mom. And? She won't go into the studio again. She can't. I changed the locks. She won't try. What did she take? Nothing. She carried out my folder. She copied 2 statements. The plainness of it empties the room. Why? to see whether a bridge was realistic. Did you ask her to copy them? I asked her to look. That's your defense? No. He grips the edge of the hall table. I'm telling you what happened after I found footage. Yes. He looks exhausted, but the exhaustion no longer pulls me toward him. It feels like another invoice he has placed on my side of the table. Are you in trouble? I ask. We're managing cash flow. That isn't an answer. The Halcyon deal required us to show equipment capacity. You bought the units before you won the work. We secured preferred pricing. With what money? Our line. How much of it? He looks toward the banker's box. Most. And your cash reserve? We have receivables. How old? Normal. You used to bring me those reports. That was before you decided helping me was unpaid labor. It was always unpaid labor. I just hadn't decided what that meant. He flinches. There's still a part of him that believes pain proves innocence. I'm not asking for your help now, he says. You were going to. If Halcyon accelerated, you were inventorying my money before you needed it. We're married. That does not make my employees your emergency fund. His face closes. There it is. What? Your employees, your client, your building. You talk like I'm a stranger. You had a stranger's respect for my locked door. He picks up the banker's box. I won't make the deposit into the new household account, he says. Not while you're moving money around and treating me like a risk. I'm not moving household money. You move the bills. I put them where we can both see and fund them, control them, fund them. I'll pay my half directly. Fine. He carries the box upstairs. A minute later, the guest room door closes. The replacement glass arrives Thursday afternoon. 2 sheets are cracked because the carrier laid another crate across them. I stand on the loading dock with the driver while he photographs the damage and apologizes like a man who has apologized all day. Priya comes out and examines the surviving sheets. We can make Friday if we work late. Can we make it well? She looks offended. Obviously. We work until 2 in the morning. Elena inspects the finished sections Friday and releases half the withheld payment, keeping the rest tied to the next installation milestone. It is enough to steady us, not enough to make the week disappear. At home, Evan and I move around each other with formal efficiency. He pays the electric bill. I buy groceries. He sleeps in the guest room and leaves before sunrise. Once I find coffee waiting in my travel mug, made exactly the way I like it. He doesn't mention it. Linda stops calling me. She starts calling him more. The first sign that Mercer's machinery is slipping arrives as an email from a ductwork supplier copied to my Bellwether address. Final notice appears in red above an invoice I recognize. It includes the duplicate freight charge I had seen in the vendor portal. I forward it to Linda with one sentence. This address is no longer associated with Mercer Mechanical. She replies within a minute. It would have taken less time to explain the error. She is right. I leave it unanswered. 2 days later, Marcus finds me outside the Whitcomb, loading trimmed amber borders into the van. He parks across 2 spaces and walks over with his hands in his jacket pockets. Do you have a minute? Depends. I'm not here to ask you to do anything. That helps. He looks at the hotel entrance where workers are carrying drop cloths through the revolving door. Evan thinks Halcyon will sign, he says. Does Halcyon agree? They asked for revised pricing. That sounds like no with paperwork. His mouth twitches. Pretty much. I close the van door. Why are you telling me? Because Linda says the cash issue is from tech overtime and service callbacks. Is it? No, overtime's high, but we're billing it. The equipment is the problem. That and receivables. How bad? I don't have the full books. Linda does. Linda prints reports and circles things. She doesn't call customers who owe us because half of them knew Evan's dad. I lean against the van. Evan told me the receivables were normal. Maybe they were normal for him. And for you? Marcus rubs the back of his neck. I told him not to order Halcyon before we had signatures. Linda said companies win big contracts by looking ready. Evan said his dad would have done it. Would he? His dad would have made Halcyon put down a deposit. That surprises a laugh out of me. Marcus smiles, then loses it. Linda also says you have money sitting around while Mercer people might miss checks. The words settle. Did Evan say that? Not to me. Do you think you'll miss payroll? He says no. That isn't what I asked. Marcus studies the pavement. I think he's waiting for 2 payments that aren't coming fast enough. Then he needs to collect them. He needs a lot of things. Why come to me? Because if he asks you for money, he's going to make it about the technicians, and they are good people, but they didn't order those units. The hotel doors turn behind him, catching and releasing reflections. Are you asking me to help them? No. He meets my eyes. I'm asking you to know whose fire it is. Evan notices the risk soon after. He sells 2 unused control assemblies at a loss, puts Halcyon's remaining equipment on the market, and removes Linda's access to vendor payments. For 3 nights, he stays at the office calling overdue accounts himself. He comes home on the 4th night with his tie in his pocket. Halcyon passed, he says. I'm sorry. He nods as if I've confirmed something. Mom resigned from the bookkeeping. Did she? She said she won't be humiliated in a company she helped build. What did you say? That I need accurate numbers more than I need help. It is closer to choosing me than anything he has done, and still not close enough. Did you tell her copying my statements was wrong? He looks down. I told her not to contact you. That wasn't the question. I can't repair every relationship at the same time. I think of the blue folder under her arm, then choose the one you're repairing. He goes upstairs without answering. On Friday morning, Mercer's payroll does not clear. I know because Marcus texts me at 8:17. Bank file rejected. Evan says Monday. At noon, the second Whitcomb payment lands in Bellwether's account. The timing is so cruel it feels arranged. I leave the money untouched. Evan calls at 3. I watch his name until the screen goes dark. At 4:30, Linda sends a message. Whatever happened between us, 9 households should not pay for your pride. I put the phone in my desk drawer. Priya finds me still there after everyone else leaves. Go home, she says. I'm not sure where that is. She leans against the doorframe. Then go somewhere with food. After she leaves, I clean the tables, cover the Whitcomb panels, and wipe the amber glass in the entrance. Rain has started, soft against the storefront. A shape appears on the other side of the rippled pane. Evan tries his key. The new lock holds. He stands there for a moment, distorted gold and gray through the glass, then knocks. Under one arm is the gray folder that used to hold Mercer's payroll figures. I open the door but keep my hand on it. His eyes are red. His shirt is wrinkled. For once, there is nothing neat about him. I need you to rescue every employee before Monday, he says. I don't move. Every employee, I repeat. 9 checks. I took myself off. How much? He pulls the folder from under his arm. Can I come in? The rain darkens his shirt 1 drop at a time. I open the door wide enough for him to pass, then lock it behind him. He goes to the oak layout table where the Whitcomb patterns had been spread 3 weeks earlier. Tonight, the surface is bare, except for a metal straight edge and Priya's mug, forgotten beside the lamp. Evan opens the folder. The top page shows gross wages, withholding, payroll taxes, and the rejected bank file. The total is $41,680. Beneath that are aging reports, bank balances, and a list of equipment with numbers written in his hand. You brought the real books, I say. Yes. Where's Linda? Home. Does she know you're here? She told me to come. Of course she did. He slides the cash flow report toward me. 2 customers promised payment today. Neither came through. One says Tuesday, the other won't commit. The Halcyon equipment? Listed. We've had offers, but they're low. How low? He points to 3 figures. Even the best would mean losing almost $30,000. What happened to the line of credit? The equipment purchase used most of it. And the remaining availability? The bank froze new draws when the receivables aged past the covenant. The figures are bad in ordinary ways. No single disaster, just optimism stacked on delayed invoices, inventory stacked on borrowed money, pride stacked on every warning until the whole thing leans. How long do you need? I ask. 60 days. You don't have 60 days. I can get the receivables collected, and you could have collected them last month. I know. The words come without an argument attached. It makes them harder to dismiss. He rubs both hands over his face. I need $42,000 by Monday morning. Mercer can repay Bellwether when the two accounts clear. Bellwether isn't lending you Whitcomb money. Nora, that payment covers materials and labor through the installation milestone. It isn't extra because it arrived on the same day your payroll failed. I'm not asking you to put your company at risk. You came to its door with payroll figures. His eyes flick toward the amber panel. Then tell me what to do. It is the first time he has said that without meaning tell me how to make you stop being upset. I sit across from him. How much did your mother take as a consulting bonus this quarter? His head lifts. That's in the expenses. $11,800. She was handling additional work. She copied my bank statements while handling it. That isn't relevant to payroll. It is relevant to whether Bellwether carries debt while she keeps money taken out of Mercer. She earned some of that. Then she can keep some of it. She returns $8,000 by Sunday. He stares at me. You've been thinking about this. I started when I saw her carrying my folder. What else? Bellwether does not lend against your receivables. They're already supporting your bank debt. The loan is secured by the Halcyon equipment at liquidation value. Funds go directly to your payroll processor. Mercer reimburses the movers, damaged glass, emergency freight, storage, and every hour I spent fixing your vendor records over the last year. Every hour. You wanted a business. His mouth tightens. At what interest? The rate on Bellwether's line plus 2 points. You'd borrow to lend to me, if I decide to. You'll make money off my payroll crisis. I'll take risk for it. I'm your husband. And 3 weeks ago, I was your hobby. He pushes back from the table. The legs scrape the concrete. I apologized for that. You apologized because the glass broke. That isn't fair. No, fair would have been you telling your mother my office was off limits before she walked into it. Fair would have been asking for storage. Fair would have been telling me Mercer was in trouble before you looked through my reserve account. I didn't look through anything. You sent her. I told her to check a number because I was scared. The last word sits between us. Evan looks down at the payroll sheet. My dad never missed payroll. 31 years. Even when he was sick, even when we lost the county maintenance contract, he paid everyone on Friday. So this is about your father. It's about people trusting me. You hid a cash crisis, ordered equipment without a contract, and searched your wife's office. That isn't protecting trust. That's protecting the appearance of it. He flinches. I know, he says. I wait for the defense. None comes. I kept thinking Halcyon would sign, he continues. Then the hotel work came through for you, and Mom started comparing everything. I should have told her to stop. Instead, I made the hobby joke because it made Mercer sound like the stable one. You made me smaller so you could feel less afraid. Yes. The answer is quiet enough that the rain nearly takes it. He presses his palms against the edge of the table. I thought you'd help if it got bad. I thought that was part of being married. You thought access was part of being married. I didn't know there was a difference. That may be the most honest thing you've said. It doesn't make me feel better. I pull a yellow pad from beneath the table and write the terms. Direct payment, equipment security, repayment schedule, interest, expense reimbursement, outside bookkeeper, no access to Bellwether's space, systems, records, or accounts without written permission. Then I add one more line. Linda Mercer returns all Bellwether documents, copies, keys, and photographs, and signs that she retained none. Evan reads it. She'll hate this. She hated my locked door. She'll say you're humiliating her. I'm asking her to stop holding properties she took from my office. He looks at the payroll total again. If she refuses, I don't lend. 9 people wait because of her? No. 9 people wait because Mercer spent money it didn't have. This is one route out. You can sell equipment at the best offer, collect accounts this weekend, put in personal funds, or ask your bank again. Our personal savings won't cover half. It will cover more after you put back the household deposit you withheld. He looks at me sharply. You said you'd pay directly, I remind him. You haven't. I paid the electric. You skipped the mortgage transfer. I was angry. So was I. The mortgage still existed. He closes the folder. You're cold tonight, he says. I'm careful tonight. I can't tell the difference anymore. That's because careful used to happen where you couldn't see it. He stands and takes the yellow sheet. I need an answer by 10 tomorrow, I say. My bank needs time to process the draw. He stops beside the door. Through the amber glass, his face bends at the edges. If I sign this, do I come home? You still live there. You know what I mean. Yes, and this saves payroll. It doesn't save us. He nods once, unlocks the door, and walks into the rain. Linda arrives at the studio at 9 the next morning. She knocks instead of trying a key. When I open the door, she holds a manila envelope and a bank check. Her lipstick is perfect. Her eyes are not. $8,000, she says. I let her inside. She places the check on the table, followed by 2 photocopied bank statements, the office key, and the front door copy I took from her at dinner. You already returned that key. I had another one. I look at her. Evan gave me his ring, she says. I copied everything because I didn't know which ones we'd need. Anything else? She removes a folded page from the envelope. It is the signed statement I requested. I deleted the photographs. From where? My phone and computer. Cloud storage? She gives me a thin smile. I'm not helpless with technology, despite your opinion. My opinion is that you entered my office. I was trying to protect a company my husband built by inspecting mine, by finding out whether this family had resources. You mean whether I had resources? You were able to build Bellwether because Evan never made you carry what he carries. The old argument arrives polished and ready. Evan covered extra household costs for 3 months, I say. I repaid them. For years, I handled Mercer bills, caught duplicate charges, gave you storage, and covered more at home whenever Evan's customers were late. I carried it so quietly you decided it weighed nothing. Her eyes moved to the Whitcomb panels. I did what I thought was necessary. So did I. You've made your point. No, I set loan terms. You know exactly how to make a person feel small. The accusation almost makes me laugh. Linda, you raised a glass to Evan's real career while my cash reserve was copied inside your purse. Color rises above her collar. He should never have made that joke. But you should have made the toast? She picks up her empty envelope. Mercer will repay you. I expect it will. Then perhaps you can stop enjoying this. There is no pleasure in the room, and she knows it. What bothers her is that shame has not softened me into service. She leaves without saying goodbye. Evan signs the loan agreement before 10. Bellwether's bank takes a security interest in the listed equipment, and our accountant verifies the payroll instructions. I draw only what Mercer still needs after Linda's check and Evan's overdue household transfer. Monday morning, $33,680 goes directly to Mercer's payroll processor. At 11:06, Marcus texts, "All cleared, thank you." I type 3 different answers and delete them. Finally, I send, "Make Evan collect his invoices." Marcus replies with a thumbs up and a minute later, already in the truck with him. Mercer's customers react differently when Evan arrives in person. One pays half by wire. Another produces a dispute nobody had addressed because Linda's printed statement had buried the attached email. Marcus solves the service issue, and the rest comes through the following week. The halcyon equipment takes longer. Evan accepts a painful offer for 4 assemblies and returns 2 more with a restocking fee. The company shrinks its warehouse footprint and abandons the expansion proposal. An outside bookkeeper begins on Wednesdays. Her invoices are higher than Linda's bonus would have been and lower than the cost of pretending printed reports or cash management. Evan repays Bellwether in 3 installments. Each one includes interest. He also pays for the movers, the freight, the glass, and 36 hours of administrative work. He does not question the rate. At home, he begins doing things before I ask. He deposits his share on time. He washes the wine glasses without leaving them upside down on the wood. He asks before using my car. The care would have touched me once. Now I can see how much of it comes from watching for the next locked door. One night, he finds me wrapping plates in the kitchen. "How many boxes?" he asks. 6, maybe 7. "For the apartment?" "Yes." He leans against the counter. "You don't have to leave before we sell the house." I know. I could move out. I found a place near the studio. He picks up a sheet of packing paper, folds it, unfolds it. I told Mom she can't come by without calling. That's good. I should have done it years ago. Yes. I keep thinking if I'd chosen differently that night. It wasn't one night. I know. This time, I believe he does. The Whitcomb installation finishes on schedule. When the lobby lights come on behind the restored ceiling, the old blue glass glows unevenly, rich because it refuses to look manufactured. Elena walks the length of the lobby twice before approving the final payment. "You protected the work," she says. I think of the rush freight, the cracked replacement sheets, and Priya asleep for 20 minutes on a roll of packing blankets. "We did," I say. Mercer gives up the warehouse unit adjoining my studio as part of its downsizing. The landlord offers it to Bellwether. I sign the lease after Priya walks through the space measuring future tables, with her arms spread wide. On my last evening before moving into the apartment, I stop at the studio to update the emergency contact sheet. Evan's name is still first. I remove it and add Priya. A knock sounds against the glass. Evan stands outside holding the final loan receipt. I let him in. He gives me the paper and sets his old studio key beside it, though it has opened nothing for months. "That's everything," he says. "Yes." He touches the door on his way out, leaving 4 clear fingertips on the amber pane. After his shape disappears, I take the cloth from beneath the counter. The prints vanish with one slow pass. I turn off the lights, step outside, and lock the door behind me. In the amber glass, my reflection settles into its familiar, uneven shape. The edges rippled, but the figure wholly mine.